Hey, what's up, folks? We're back here today, and we're going to talk 1911s. What I like and dislike on a 1911, not what I like and dislike about the gun. So, for background, I've been shooting 1911s since I was a kid. I am 36 years old now, and I've been carrying 1911s since I got my concealed carry permit back when I was like 22. So I've been carrying them for a long time. I've taken lots of classes with them. I've had many different 1911s over the years, and I finally gotten to a point where I can just, in my collection of 1911s, have really good top end stuff. So my daily carry pistol, which is loaded, does have a round chambered. It just came out of my holster before I turned the camera on. It's this. It's a Wilson Combat CQB Elite in 45 ACP. All black armor tough, no front cocking serrations, slotted grip screws, front night sight, and the bottom of the trigger guard is checkered, and it uses the long pad trigger. My backup, the gun that we're going to handle, is this one here. This is a Wilson Combat Protector Elite, and it's clear, no magazine, and no round chambered. And the empty magazine is here. So, what do I dislike? First things first, I do not like ambidextrous thumb safeties. I'm a right-handed shooter. I carry the gun. When it's sitting in my holster and I'm going about my day, getting in and out of the car, walking around the grocery store, or whatever I might be doing, the safety can get bumped off. It's not something I like to have happen. Yes, I do still have a grip safety, so the gun is technically safe, but I would just much prefer to have that thumb safety not get swept off. Something else I don't like super extended controls. You can see on my Protector Elite here, the controls are relatively low profile, but they're still there enough that I can manipulate them with ease. The extended controls, they just add width profile to the gun. I don't like it. It makes it more difficult to conceal the gun. So I stick with the slimmer controls. Something else I dislike on a 1911, it is a full-length guide rod. Why do I dislike them? Because it requires a tool to field strip the gun. You have to use a barrel bushing wrench. I would much prefer to be able to just pop the gun apart with no tools, as I can with the GI assemblies. That's not always true. There are some makers that'll fit that bushing up so tightly that you're still going to need to use the wrench. My Springfield Professional is guilty of that. I've had a couple of Les Bears that suffer from that same problem. The Wilsons, however, I don't have that issue with them. They're just able to be turned with a finger. Last thing in the dislikes list. I don't like anything except for slotted grip screws. I don't like Allen heads. I don't like Torx heads. There's basically 3 reasons, or maybe you could call it 2.5 reasons. First reason, you need to have a specific tool to tighten the grip screws. If you use G10 grips especially, your grip screws will work loose, especially if you're not using a little rubber O-ring on the grip screw. So you'll need to have a special tool to tighten them. I know I, for one, don't carry Allen wrenches or Torx wrenches in my range bag. Probably most casual shooters that have a 1911 that's got those types of grip screws fitted don't carry those tools in their range bag either. If you're somebody that's a dedicated 1911 user and carrier and shooter, and you know that you've got those stock screws, you very well probably will have a Torx or Allen wrench in your range kit, but generally it's not something people carry. Second thing, and this is another practical thing, it's that the Allen and the Torx screws are very easy to strip, especially if they are made out of shitty metal. They're made out of cheap soft metal, and you tighten them down too much, you can strip the screw very easily. Thing three, which I say might make this 2.5 reasons, not 3. You can snap screw heads off of Torx and Allen head grip screws relatively easily if you over torque and if they're made out of cheap metal. I have seen that happen one time. Actually, a buddy of mine, he was putting a set of new VZs on his Kimber, and he cranked down too hard on the Allen screw and broke it off. So it's not a good thing, because at that point, now you have to get your stocks off, and you have to get the bushing out and replace it. So it makes for a whole new set of headaches. So for those reasons, I don't like those non-slotted grip screws. Things that I do like. Other thing I don't like on a 1911. Last thing, I don't really care for front cocking serrations. It's not really a functional dislike of mine or practical dislike. I just don't like the way they look. That's all there is to it. Aesthetically, I don't like them. Yes, I know that's petty and shallow of me, right? Let's get to things that I do like a 1911 to have. First and foremost, it's a 1911, so I wanted to have a good trigger. My Wilsons, their triggers are right at about 3 pounds, maybe a little bit less. So good trigger is a must. I would say if you're going to carry the gun, anything between 3.5 and 4.5 pounds is perfect. I also like good visible sights. So since these are both carry guns, I have the Wilson plain black U-notch rear sight and a front tritium sight. If it was just a range gun, I might go for the fiber optic, which is easier to pick up in bright light. But since these are guns where I'm using them for self-defense, for concealed carry, I like to have the night sight in the front. And I don't really care for night sight in the rear, because in the dark or low light, it just looks like a cluttered mess. Something else that I like to do with the 1911, I like to have the front strap and mainspring housing checkered. I like 30 line per inch or 25 line per inch checkering. That's a good balance. It gives me good grip, good traction, and it does not tear my clothes up too bad. My Springfield Professional, which I featured a while back on this channel, maybe a year ago, I did carry it for a while after I got it, and it destroyed the jacket lining in 2 of my suits. I wasn't very happy with it after that. That gun has 20 line per inch checkering on the mainspring housing and the front strap, and it is incredibly aggressive, and it is very grippy, but it does destroy your clothes if you're concealed carrying it, so just something to be aware of. With a 1911, I do like to have a magwell, extended magwell. I really like Wilson's speed shoot. They do facilitate smoother, faster reloads than not having them. So that's a like of mine. And lastly, I like to have, I'm not going to take my stocks off, but I like to have a little rubber O-ring in the on my grip screws, especially on guns that have G10 grips like this Protector Elite. With the G10 grips or the micarta grips, that material is so hard that the threads of the grip screw really don't have anything to bite into on the grip itself, so they tend to work loose a lot more quickly when you're shooting. With the O-rings, they mitigate that a little bit. I wouldn't say they eliminate it altogether, but they do certainly mitigate the screws working loose. It takes them a lot longer to work loose with the O-rings in there than if they weren't. I would compare it more to, with the O-rings, I would compare it to how long it would take a grip screw to work loose on a set of wood grips. So those are kind of a must, in my opinion, if you're going to use G10 or micarta grips. So those are my likes, my dislikes, from the practical standpoint of carrying the gun. Hopefully that was sort of interesting, maybe a little bit informative for you. And we'll see you next time.